So the debate in Washington, D.C. continues to change towards one about income inequality. That's good if we're getting away from all the talk about debt and deficit and onto really, really important things like income inequality. That's fantastic. We've actually seen Senator Mike Lee and Rand Paul address that, albeit, of course, they did this in order to make a case against the government, but, which is kind of ironic. But now Louie Gohmert decides he wants to jump into the fray and give his own ideas on how to solve income inequality. So what is his big idea? Well, if you couldn't tell by now, it's tax poor people. In a recent speech to a Tea Party Patriot group, he had told the crowd, quote, "There is not a blessed thing this president has proposed that will change the situation of his buddy Warren Buffett paying a lower percentage than his secretary. I beg to differ. I know that folks that are big on the fair tax, I just want a simple tax. I think it would be easier to get to a flat tax, and then maybe a fair tax someday. Someday." Now, most people should know that a flat tax is regressive. People like it because it's simple, though. I mean, it sounds good. It sounds fair, right? But it's not. 10% of $1 million a year doesn't really impact a millionaire as much as it does if you tax 10% of $25,000 a year. Flat taxes disproportionately affect the poor, and they help the rich by reducing their tax burden. That's why you see all these millionaires and billionaires loving the flat tax. Oh, it's so fair. Oh, it's so fair. Yeah, it's fair because, well, it's fair for you because you get to save more of your money. Well, of course it's fair. But they don't think about how it affects the person making $30,000 a year or less. Now, of course, Louie Gohmert has actually thought of that already, and he said, quote, "What if you're so poor the only money you have is what the government gives you?" And I've wondered, isn't that wasted money? You give it and you take it back? No, it gives you an investment in the country, and we need that. That's right. Pay your taxes, bums. Poor people. It's an investment in the country, and we need that. Well, that's strange. I could think of other people that could also invest in the country a lot more effectively than poor people. Do you know why poor people don't pay federal income taxes? Because if they did, they'd probably starve. Poor people pay state and local taxes. Those taxes are actually regressive. They impact the poor more. Sales tax, incredibly regressive, among the other taxes that they pay. So, this is a great idea, Louie. Hey, you know what? I got a better idea. How about instead of taxing poor people more, how about we get rid of the loopholes and make corporations and the wealthy pay what they're supposed to pay? There's no need to lower the rates. Just make them pay their 30 to 35% and use that money to invest in the middle class and the poor. Wow, amazing. What a concept. But no. Louie Gohmert is, of course, against that idea because, well, it's because his corporate masters pay him to be against it. Never mind the fact that economic growth was actually much better when the corporate taxes were much, much higher. And by the way, if Louie Gohmert truly wanted to tax the people that receive government benefits and handouts, like you mentioned earlier, he actually would be going after some of the largest corporations in America. After all, there was that study by the Cato Institute that says that the government gives out $100 billion in corporate welfare every year. Some to companies that don't even pay their taxes at all. $100 billion a year. You know that's double the amount we spend on the different welfare programs? Maybe we should go after those guys first, Louie, instead of hitting the most vulnerable Americans. Maybe these large corporations and the wealthy should have their own skin in the game, instead of trying to skin the poor.